This promises to be a momentous occasion. You are about to meet the newest member of your team. As you are aware, the Green Ranger's power was completely decimated by his last few battles. Alpha and I felt it was time to create an even more powerful Ranger to combat Lord Zed and his diabolical evil. To that end, a candidate was selected, and a new Power Ranger was created. And now, my friends, I present to you...
What's up, guys? It is your man, ZentTypeFit. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, I got another review for you, and we are reviewing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers by Boom Studios, issue number 50, the conclusion to the Necessary Evil story arc. So without further ado, let's get into it. As I review these comic books, as you guys know, I look at three different criteria: the good, the bad, and the Morphin. So starting off with the good, one thing I really did like in this comic was the tone. As you're reading, you understand, like, things are about to go down, you know what I mean? Like, it has a different tone compared to the previous things. Like, we're no longer in setup, we're no longer in just those, you know, little filler episode type, you know, comics. This has a specific tone where you know something is about to go down. You know it's a little more serious and it's a little more grounded. At least that's what I felt as I read the book, you know? So that's something that I really liked, was the tone. The fight with the Rangers, Garrison and Dane, was just beautiful. Daniel D, Nicolo, and all the artists, and Ryan Parrott, you know, as the writer, everyone who's behind, you know, kind of the production for these comics, they do a fantastic job. Like, the artwork, number one, I always talk about that, is definitely on point. But just the fight scenes in general, just everything, how it was drawn out, how it was put together, wording for, you know, the story itself, I thought was good. It just felt really cool. It felt, you know, it felt like Power Rangers, but it felt new. And that's something that I liked, you know what I mean? It didn't feel too separated from its authenticity, but it was just like, man, this is refreshing. I like this type of fight scene. As the Rangers were fighting the Empowered, you know, as they were fighting Dane and Garrison, it was just beautifully, you know, mashed up together. So I thought that was a great. And, you know, continuity is another big thing for me. The story obviously picks up right where we left off in issue 49. And, you know, just continues on. So, and again, artwork on point always. Like, these artists, the writers, they know what they are doing, man. And they really just make it pop. You know what I mean? Like, I even wrote that on Daniel D. Nicolo's Twitter page, just saying, like, his artwork really makes this story come to life. And it really does. As you're reading and you're, you know, scrolling through these pages, pay attention to that. That's something that I would advise, is just look at the artwork. You know, I'm a big picture guy. Even as a kid, like, you know, if I was reading a book, picture books is the stuff that captures my attention. It's captivating. And I think that's something that these artists do a fantastic job of doing. Like, the writers are great too, but without the beautiful artistry, like, it really makes everything just come to life. And I think that's something that they just executed 100% within this comic, for sure. Getting into the bad of this comic, not too much to say, but, you know, there was specific little dialogue that I would say was just a little cheesy, or felt cheesy to me, coming from, like, specific characters or certain villains. But again, it is Power Rangers, so we're gonna have some cheesy stuff that's gonna happen. You're gonna have some cheesy dialogue. It's Power Rangers. You just gotta get over it. But if I had to pick apart one bad thing, I would just say that. You know, like, when you're in a serious tone, and then you have, like, certain lines that are just kind of cheesy, you know, I'm just like, okay, you know, it's Power Rangers, it's gonna happen. But that's really it. Nothing too crazy, nothing too bad, I would say, about this comic. And getting into the Morphin of this comic, I have so much to talk about. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much more phenomenal things to talk about within this comic. In my opinion, Ranger Slayer, she's kind of like Captain Marvel was in Avengers Endgame. And by that I mean, you know, she kind of pops in and then kind of pops out. You know what I mean? Like, she steps in, kind of helps out just for a little bit, but her presence isn't very dominant at all, you know, with in this comic. You know, that's something. But it was just good, you know, to still see her nonetheless, to kind of, you know, still see her make an appearance. In this comic, there was a proper way that they did the passing of the torch, or the power transfer, as you may say. At the end of the comic, you know, you see, gosh, you know, Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, and basically the original team of Rangers, they're talking to, the Omega Rangers. And, they're like, hey, if you guys ever need us, we're here for you, just give us a call. And, the MMPR team, they're like, we got these new Rangers. I think they got it down lock. I think they're ready. They're ready to morph up. They got it under control. And it was just kind of a beautiful, kind of majestic, metaphoric way of saying, this is a better way of passing the torch. And I like that moment. I really like that because growing up and watching the show, it really did feel so abrupt when the original actors left the show, and then you have these new actors that came in, these new characters, and it was just, you just kind of had to roll with it. And the same with them, they were just kind of having to fill some big shoes, coming into the show. But with the story itself, I feel like the characters themselves, if you were never a fan of like Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, I feel like in this version, you can be a little bit more. You can understand their characters a little bit more because they're fleshed out and they get a little bit more, character development. And that's something I think they did really good in this comic. So the Dane, he ends up freeing Lord Zed. So he leaves the battle because the Dane is fighting the Rangers and he's getting overpowered by them. He tells Kiya, look, like, Kiya, you're on your own. I'm sorry, these Rangers are crazy. I'm not about to get my ass whooped again. So deuces, I'm gonna go back to where I came from and go, fight the SPD Rangers because these Mighty Morphin Rangers are just a little too much nostalgia. I'm out. Peace. So he flies out, he goes and lets, Zed free from his, space prison, and he's pretty much like, hey, you set me free, so I'm gonna do the same favor. We're good. Another more phenomenal thing is Alpha 5 contacts the Rangers, and he tells them basically like that there's this huge orbit coming in quick. It's coming in hot, fast into the Earth. He needs them to teleport in and go check it out, see what's happening. So they get there and they're like, well, usually, if it's like a meteor that crashes, it'll have a big, crash landing, but this didn't. So it's coming in hot. And another thing, Lord Zed notices it. And then I noticed it in the beginning of this comic. You see, something flying in. We have dialogue in the beginning, but we don't know what this is that's traveling, right? And then, towards the end, Lord Zed, he notices, something flying in, and I think he knows what and who it is. Now, I called this. I called this early on in this story arc. I said, at some point, in some way or form or fashion, a specific character is going to come back in some form or fashion. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but I knew at some point within this story arc, in Necessary Evil, this character would come back. And it's revealed that Lord Rackin is back. They show him, and he's unmorphed. He's not in suit or anything, but what's interesting about him, and I really like this, he says, they're coming. And he looks frantic, like he looks kind of scared. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of grungy, he's kind of scarred up. And mind you, I'm pretty sure a lot of the other Rangers, they don't really know who the hell this guy is. It looks like an older Tommy Oliver, They don't know the whole story behind who this guy is. Because remember, their memories, they don't remember everything. It's only the Omega Rangers who know what happened in Shattered Grid. So that's the ending of friggin', Necessary Evil. That is the ending of issue number 50. And it leaves you on a cliffhanger. It leaves you with so many questions like, what the heck is happening? What is going on? But it's perfect setup, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Boom Studios, they already have plans. For Ranger Slayer, she's having her own little comic miniseries. And Lord Rackin apparently is having his own comic miniseries as well. I think it's going to be like just a few issues or something like that. Which I will be covering all of those, don't worry. So, with seeing both of those characters within this comic, it leaves, leadway perfectly, for their miniseries, which I think is going to be interesting. So, I don't know what's going to happen next. But here's the thing. For a guy who shattered the grid and almost erased existence in its entirety, if he's scared, if he's running from something, I want to know who he's running from. Because if he's scared, who he's running from has got to be pretty scary, you know what I mean? Who do you guys think it is? Who do you guys think he's running from? Is it a group of Rangers? Or is it something or someone else? Let me know in the comments. And what'd you think of Solar Ranger? You know, Solar Ranger and I think it's Valerian, her, you know, partner. You know, they had a mini moment, you know, within this comic too, where they came back and they were kind of the reason that the Rangers ended up winning this battle between, you know, the empowered beings. You know, they kind of sucked up, you know, all the Morphin energy, which it was kind of cool. They zapped in and zapped out. You know, kind of similar with Ranger Slayer. All their roles weren't really that big or prominent within the story, and it really didn't need to be, but it's just cool to see the expanded universe of Power Rangers, and I think that's something Boom Studios is doing well, and something that they're trying to push more of. Is like, yes, you have the Mighty Morphin, and yes, you have all these other seasons, but there's also a bigger universe within this world, and I think it's cool that you can kind of pull from that and use characters, you know, periodically. So, and lastly, it is time for my lightning rating. I give this book obviously a 5 out of 5. Come on now. What did you guys think of this book? What were some of your favorite parts? Another little thing that, you know, I didn't mention earlier, but I really liked the mix-up of Zords. Did you notice that? Like with the Omega Red Ranger and then Tommy White Ranger, you know, their Zords combined. I'm thinking in my mind like, dude, toys, yes, like Boom Studios, come on, man. Like, that's gonna be dope. Could you imagine that? Like, if you can get like a mix and match type thing where they have like the Zords. I would like to see more Power Ranger toy Zords, you know, from Boom Studios. Bring some of that out where like you can buy different packs and take apart pieces and mix them together. When I was looking at that in the comic, I was like, that's an opportunity for some dope ass toys. So let me know what you guys think about that. I, like, for one hand, think that would be really cool, and that's something that I noticed within this comic. But what's some other things that you thought were like, man, this was new, this was really cool? What are some things that you really liked about this comic? What are some things that you didn't like about this comic? Comment below, let me know, and let's converse. And as usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's crazy to see, you know, so much of like these story arcs coming to an end, but it's exciting because there's a lot of new stuff to come, and I can't wait to tackle that as well. So thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, let me tell you what to do. Like this video, okay? And number one, hit the subscribe button so you can catch all my new content. I'm always releasing stuff on the weekends, so join the squad. You know what I'm saying? Just join the Z Squad. That's what I kind of call it, because, you know, Zentai Fit, so Z Squad. I don't know, I'm still working on that. But anyway, join the squad, subscribe, share this video out, comment below, and thank you so much for your support. And that's pretty much it, guys. Have a more phenomenal weekend, and I will see you on the next video. Woo-ah!